It is June 16th, 2016. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. We have an early live show today with the No Holds Barred show with Kathy Rubio, and her guest will be Ole Dammegard. Hopefully I pronounced that close to right. And let's get Kathy on.
Good morning.
Good morning. Didn't I just talk to you?
Yeah, I think so. He's waiting for you.
Alrighty. Let me scroll down the list here and adding him now.
I just sent you a really good video.
Oh, wow.
It's called Clinton-backed Honduran regime is killing off the indigenous leaders to get their natural resources, gold.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Ole.
Good morning, Kathy. I hope you're doing good.
Oh, I'm doing good, yeah. I wish the week was over. I could just lay down.
Yep.
Oh, so where are you at today?
Today I'm in Spain. We just returned home. I came home like 4 a.m., so
I see that your camera is going round and round. Are you going to come on with your face today, or?
The camera's, yeah, if you want to. It's up to you.
Sure, that's fine.
It's, whatever is needed. I'm just trying to fix my background a little bit.
Do you want me to put his camera up on screen, Kathy?
Sure, yeah.
Alrighty. Let me add that in the...
And if you got any scenery in Spain, put that there too.
Sorry, it's the wrong direction. Then I should go. I should turn around and then. I tell you, we live in a beautiful area of Spain. It's very much like Utah. The mountains behind us. We got like about 400 buses in the area, and
wow.
Really lots of small little horse ranches, and beautiful, stunning.
I see a lot of people are moving over that way from the United States.
Well,
they're actually our immigrants leaving the United States are quite a few now every month, and moving into other countries.
I'm sorry to say I can't blame them.
No, I don't either. If I could get out of here, I'd be gone. But I think I'm on that no-fly list.
I don't know. I've been invited. I've been warned not to come to the U.S. because I would love to go to do my best for you over there, but I have to do it like this at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty bad over here, especially people who are anything to do with journalism.
Yeah. No, they say they have this very nice orange suit waiting for me if I want to. So I'll think I'll wait for that.
Orange is the new color, you know.
I know. It's. I prefer purple though. I mean, it's the witch colors.
Yeah. Well, Ole, because you're new to my show, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, give us a little bio on yourself, and then we'll get started.
Go for it.
So you go ahead, tell us all about you, what you do for a living, who you are.
What I do for a living. Well, my name is Ole Dammegard. My body was born in Denmark many years ago, and I grew up in Sweden. And I started out quite early as a journalist. And in the early 80s, I became extremely interested in the JFK assassination after having seen the Zapruder film for the first time, where, I mean, it takes like I think somebody with an IQ higher than 10, where you can tell the difference between hot and cold water. It takes that kind of intelligence to see that the shot is fired from somewhere in front and to the right of the president when it hits his head, instead of the official story we're being told behind and up to the right. So that really got to me, because I just could not understand how these very well-respected journalists and news channels, after, well, in the early 80s, it was some 20 odd years after it happened, could still be reporting something that was that obvious that it was not true. So that took me down, I don't know how many thousands of hours I put into the JFK assassination, trying to figure it out. For myself, this was way before the internet, so I traveled to England to try and get hold of books there, because it was very hard to really get good ones in Sweden. I went to the States, I tried to look up people and so on. And then over the years, I got more and more interested in Robert Kennedy as well, the assassination there, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Abraham Lincoln, and so on. And after a while, it was almost like I started seeing that there was some kind of template being used, not in the exact way on a street level how these killings were done, but the whole follow-up with it's being blamed on a lone crazy guy who very more or less always get killed right after, so he can't speak. Then followed by an investigation that seemed to be there only to shut down every attempt to get the real truth out there. And that these investigations then followed by commissions that just dragged it out for years and years, making thousands of pages of absolute useless documents for you to wear you out. And then if that wasn't enough to get people totally not interested in it anymore, then another commission was just set there to follow the first one, and then they just kept giving them up one after the other. And then in 1986, the Swedish Prime Minister, Olof Palme, was gunned down in the streets of Stockholm, which was, it was as big a shock as it was for the world with JFK. It was that big a shock in Europe and Scandinavia when he was murdered, because that just didn't happen in Sweden. It was up until then, it was a very peaceful, I thought, a country without corruption. I thought a country, the perfect democracy. I thought you could trust the police and so on. So when that happened, I thought that this was the act of a lone crazy guy, as all the other ones, and that the Swedish police would get the guilty one very fast and so on. And then the time went on, and after a while I started seeing the exact same template being used as when the other people were murdered. So I thought, but how is this possible? I mean, this is an assassination in Sweden. The other ones are carried out in the States and other countries. So I started looking at this bullet point list that I put together by studying these other assassinations in great detail. And I could see, like, for JFK, for instance, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that was carried out. Then the same with Robert Kennedy, same with Martin Luther King. And in Sweden, when I started comparing, maybe they had gone down to number 3 on the list. So I thought, if what I suspect could be correct, then in Sweden they would do number 4. And within a few weeks they did exactly that. I can't remember what it was now, but exactly that, following the exact same template. And that just blew my mind, because I thought, how the hell is this possible? And if it is possible, then I live in the same country with the same type of corruption and the same type of police force and involvement in these very shady businesses as in other countries. An absolute shock. So I quit my job. I moved to Stockholm. I started working as a bus driver and cleaning toilets and so on, just to keep myself going while trying to find out what actually happened in Sweden. And this took me down. It was almost 12 years of my life. I looked into this. I dug very, very deep into this assassination, which is a massive, massive operation, very similar to the JFK, and also with the same power structure behind that one as JFK. And so at that time, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was just very naive. And I walked into this area with no real feeling for the forces I was up against. And like I say, I spent I don't know how many thousands of hours in archives and looking up people tracking down agents, even and assassins in Sweden, secret sleeping agents, foreign agents, and so on. So my life became more and more like a bad, cheap movie almost. Then in around 1999, I was part of a small group called the Private Investigators that was being made. People were making jokes about us because in media and so on, they were just ridiculing us and so on. And then two of these people, old friends of mine, were just pushing too hard and getting too close to the power structures behind these things, and both of them ended up dead. And I also had a visit at home, which really scared me, because these forces that you are challenging, or the power structure, the people behind these operations, they have a very violent way of solving problems, and people have a great tendency of ending up dead or destroyed if they get in the way. So I thought, I don't want to become part of statistics. I really want to make a difference and get the truth out there. So I thought it's better for me to leave Sweden. And so I did. I took my girlfriend, we took her kids, and within 1 month later, we had moved to Spain. And so I've been here now for 16 years. We moved 9 times in Spain. And now we live up in the mountains outside a small village called Casares, where I'm doing everything I can to expose what is happening in the world. I'm a one-man band, but somehow I've ended up in this situation where people are approaching me from all over the world regarding especially false flag operations and top assassinations. And I have a great honor and joy of being friends with people, everything from former agents, even assassins, whistleblowers, researchers from all over the world. And I just devote my life for truth. I love truth. I really love truth because it's so clean, it's so pure, it fears no investigation, and it will lead you to whatever happened. And then conspiracies is the exact opposite, which are very disgusting. They smell. They lead to a lot of awful things. You know, the more lies that are involved, the more afraid people involved get. They start killing each other. They very often these things self-destruct from the inside, but still, society or the power structure in the world, I would say the same power structure that is behind the so-called New World Order, they're still managing to keep the lid on top of this, but it's coming out. The symptoms of this it's like a cancer growth. The symptoms is just spreading all over the world, all over the globe, affecting our lives in so many ways that most people have no idea. So I just want to say, I think these are great times, because instead of this world being totally mad and crazy, when mad terrorists, trying to figure out new ways of blowing us up, and wars going on everywhere, and the mayhem and nature going wild, what we're looking at, I would say, is one very small little group, we're talking in the thousands, that are messing this thing up for the rest of us in so many ways that most people have no idea. But they're thousands, we are in the billions. So really, it's an absolute joke that we're even in this situation, having these kind of programs.
It is. I agree with you, because there are way more of us than them. But why don't we stand?
Because we're absolutely asleep, that's the thing. It's an absolute joke, if you ask me. It's like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. We say they should respect us. I say, why should they? I mean, when you look at these false flag operations, it's like looking at the same Rambo film or Rocky film again and again and again and again, and we still get surprised every time he wins. You know, it's like it's the same script being used over and over and over and over, and we're still like, oh my God, there's a terrorist in Sydney. Oh my God, there's a terrorist in Ottawa. Oh my God, there's a terrorist in Copenhagen. Oh my God, there's a terrorist in Brussels. Oh my God, there's a terrorist they're coordinated. It's like a rock
Yes.
group on tour. It's even the same people that they're using to keep it in a small little tight unit that in my humble opinion, that are being transported with military planes from airbase to airbase in all NATO countries. There's a selection of these NATO countries that are used more than others. And then it's the same little team of directors, crisis actors, special effects people, marketing agencies that create logos and slogans. You got what do you call it, like bouncers, bodyguards that are keeping this small little group under control. You got local backup logistics that when you land on a place, they take care of everything: food, toilets, facilities on site, including vehicles, buses, all of these things, the contacts in the media and press and so on. But it's the same group that is being transported. And I'm a friend of Chip Tatum. I'm sure your listeners know about Chip Tatum.
Yeah, Chip Tatum is working on my other show.
I'm very
Truth
happy to
Unite.
hear that.
Yeah.
And Chip is one very, very special man, I think, and very precious to us because he has been on the inside, in the belly of the beast.
Yes.
And so he can help us and confirm our suspicions and help us find our way in these dark areas. And I asked him about this theory because it is my theory that is the same group. I have not been able to prove it 100%. And he said it's not only possible, but plausible. He backs that thought.
Yeah.
And he has been part of false flag operations as well during his career. So, well.
Yeah, we got a few of those. About a year ago, I started gathering together the whistleblowers and trying anyway to gather them together. And my theory is that if all of us could get every whistleblower to come out of the woodwork in one day on all the radio stations, put them on, and broadcast them for one whole day, that devil would run for the truth that would come out. But you can't get them united either because they keep making laws over here in the United States that are more scary to them, that they're going to serve time in jail and blah, blah, blah.
I wonder why they're making these laws. I mean, this is the thing.
Well,
they're
protect themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that the word, they say national security.
Right.
Absolutely not. It has nothing to do with national. It's their butt they're trying to cover.
Yeah, that's right.
So every time you hear national security,
Well, before we go any further, I want to introduce you to Mike Callahan. He's the co-host. Mike, are you with me?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi,
Mike, this is Ole.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. An absolute pleasure.
Same as well.
You'll be interested to know, Ole, that last night our guest was the same as you. And he has proven over and over who each one of these crisis actors are.
Excellent.
And he's worked, Dallas Goldbug is who he is, and on the internet it's Well Aware One. So he is an expert with matching up your hand vein things, the ears, the eyes. That's what he does for a living.
Wow.
So he has been able to match up these people and show us who is acting where and when and traveling back and forth. And he talked to us too about this last night, that it is all scripted. Everything is scripted. And I've been saying probably for a year now, there isn't any reality around here. The only truth is in heaven. There's nothing here. It's all lies now.
Do you know, like, what was the CIA director, Dick Cheney? I think his name was.
Cheney.
No, not Dick Cheney. The guy before Cheney. I'm sorry, I haven't slept a lot. but he died during an operation some years ago. But anyway, he said that when we have succeeded, everything the American population believes will be built on lies, and I think we're very close to that.
Yeah, we are.
It's just like in the JFK movie, where uh, the where my God, come on,
No,
can you
I
work,
got the
please?
same problem the last few days.
Oh, I can't. We landed 4 o'clock this morning, so my
Oh
eyes
dear.
are not really open. But anyway, he says, Jim Garrison, the attorney in the film, he says, "Listen, people, we have to understand we are behind the mirror. Black is white and white is black.
Mhm.
Everything is upside down in these days." So it's really interesting because every time, for instance, the people behind these things, they will say the Freedom Committee or something like that. You will know for sure, just turn it around. It's an absolute lie that will be presented. Or
Yep.
the democracy thing, you will see it's an absolute dictator thing type of thing they're pushing there. The Homeland Security, absolute bollocks. It has nothing to do with Homeland Security. It's like mafia infiltrated attack under the surface for at the population. It's then they say really awful things like attacks on other countries. They will name it like Operation Stardust or something like that. That will make us all go whoa. It's really just upside down.
Yeah.
They call it the U.S. defense. The defense, really? You need to defend yourself against someone else. It's just your military power is bigger than all the rest of the world together, as far as I know. So who are you defending yourself against? It's a joke. It is a joke.
Yeah.
And I just pity all these beautiful young people that sign up for military duty and so on, thinking that they're going out there to save the world, fighting for democracy and liberating other countries, and then finding out that they are being trained as brutal murderers and
Murderers,
enforcers,
rapers.
rapists going out there thinking that they're serving their country
Yep.
to start with, and then they're ending up finding out that it's all based on a few people's extreme greed, total corruption, and they're the ones who are doing it. They're the ones soiling their soul with the blood of innocent victims.
That's right.
And that is why so many comes home totally messed up and missing limbs and arms and legs and committing suicide because they're not even being treated like heroes or with any kind of respect. Not even, I know Chip, I think he said just to get your case dealt with authorities and so on will take like 6 years for a veteran.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I
And
mean,
they hope you're going to die in between times. That's what their hope is.
really, what kind of disgraceful behavior is that? You
Yep.
know, and then these people, you say, what does a terrorist look like? He's got a balaclava and a Kalashnikov. Excuse me, I'm telling you not. After 30 years of my life, real terrorists drive around in limousines with bodyguards, nice suits. They stand up on stage, they look at you through TV, telling you all the things you want to know, while at the same time doing all the things you're believing extreme criminals are doing. That's them. But
Yeah.
they're doing it with this beautiful cover. And then so cowardly signing all of these orders, sending people into horrible war zones for no other reason than their own greed. And they haven't got the balls themselves even to go there or send their own kids. They send you and me as cannon fodder. I mean, my God, come on, that is so disgusting. And then in the same time, having all of these, oh, don't get me started. I just feel really,
I know. You could get so angry. And then you kind of get in a position where you don't know what to do next. How do I help? I'm only one person. What can I do? Open your mouth.
open your mouth, open your
That's it.
mind, open your
That's,
heart.
yep.
And and what I say, if you can't do anything else, then focus on becoming fearless. They want you fearful. They want your head down in the mud where they can control you. Work on becoming fearless so that when they try to force you to do something or you will have the balance inside and the strength to just say no. Thank
Yep.
you, but no. Please
Yep.
shoot that person over there. Thank you, but no, thank you. Please do that awful thing. Thank you, but no, thank you.
Well,
If we all just said no, thank you, this whole
that's
thing would
it.
stop
It'd be
like this.
over. Yes. You know, I think many times, I'm 68 years old, and I know that the people in my generation, they're flipping out because never would it have gotten this far with people from my generation. We'd have been out there a long time ago putting a stop to this garbage. But this generation has been so dumbed down and so indoctrinated for so long, they don't even know the correct history of the country anymore. That's even been changed and turned around. And so I don't know
But
where
Kathy,
our hope lies here.
I tell you, I have to disagree with you because it's also your generation, my generation, all of the generations coming up to this point that have allowed these forces to get to where they are. So just because you were on the
Yeah,
barricades 66 and 68 or whatever, that was when they took over. The real step forward was the JFK assassination.
yeah,
That was a coup d'etat right in the front of all of us, and nobody saw it really for what it
yeah, we
was.
didn't. As long as
And
they kept feeding us our checks and giving us our job, we didn't care. That's true.
no, but nobody has really known the truth either, And
No.
I would say all the presidents from JFK and onwards have just been a different cover, a nice cover of the same very brutal war, death and destruction machine that has just been pushing forward ever since. So this is why it's so important to uncover what actually happened in Dallas that day, because that was the real turning point, even though these forces have been in the background for a long time. But all the precedent, I mean, George Bush Sr. was actually the paymaster for Operation 40, which was supplying a lot of the shooters for the assassination in Dealey Plaza. Richard Nixon he was given the task from Dwight Eisenhower to start Operation 40, which is a group that most people don't even know about. A team of top assassins, ultra secret, that was being used from the early 60s and onwards. And now they're still here. Porter Goss was one of them, the CIA director here a few years ago. Barry Seal, all of these people, many of them. So
Here's a headline for you from this morning. And I'm interested in Honduras because I was there for 12 years. Alert! The Clinton-backed Honduran regime is killing indigenous leaders for their natural resources. Gold.
what else is new? I mean, this is the thing. When you look at, for instance, Clinton, he looks nice and so on. Check out his background.
Oh,
And check the body count that has followed in his
Yeah.
path and Hillary's path.
yeah.
These are criminals on a level that are like, you got the Bush family. The level of criminality is mind blowing.
Yes.
It almost makes Hitler, what he is accused of having done, similar. It's on the same level. Even more and more information is now coming out around the history of the Second World War, which is putting a totally different light on leaders like Adolf Hitler. But the things he's been accused of, when you look at the dear George Bush Senior, not Boy George, but Senior, oh my God, Henry Kissinger, these type of people, they have their whole life have been like dragged in blood. They're
Yep.
so central in so much mayhem in this world. So, and then you give the Peace Prize to Henry Kissinger. I mean, blow my
Oh.
mind. It's like, and
They
then
gave one to Obama.
for things to come. I love it. For things to come. Thank you, Mr. Barack.
Certainly was no peace to it either.
No, what has he done? Has he lived up to it? I would say absolutely not. He's done the
No,
opposite. And so
no.
Barry Soetoro and his dear friend, wife Michael, they're laughing at us. They're
Yes,
laughing.
every single day.
Yeah.
And I wish that people would understand that we have to stop it. We're the ones that have to do it. And it
If we
doesn't have to
don't,
be in violence. It can be in other ways.
that is it. That is it.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, if we go violent, that is their language, and they've
that's
got the
right.
muscles. They're trying to get us going.
Yeah, they are.
Come, come on, and then they can squash us. The
Yeah.
thing is, they don't know about compassion. They don't know about fearlessness. They're such cowards themselves, and so they don't know how to deal with us if we step into that light. That is why I totally promote non-violence, but
Yeah.
fearless exposure. Let the truth do it, and do not bend down. Don't bend over. Doesn't mean that you have to headbutt anyone, but just aim the light at them. That's also why
Amen.
my website is called Light on Conspiracies, because that is what I'm doing. I'm aiming the light into the darkest of the dark corners in the belly of the beast, and but totally non-violent. And so far, so good.
That word conspiracy is kind of interesting because they have used it against us who are telling the truth for a long time. And in reality, they are the ones that have been conspiring for years and years and years. They're the conspirators, not us. So
But
they even turned that around.
conspiracy only means to breathe together. So it's quite a beautiful word when you look at it. But conspiracy theory, that is the one that came up with right after the JFK assassination, to aim at people like myself, because as soon as you add the word theory, then there's a doubt. I'm totally not interested in conspiracy theories. I'm only interested in conspiracy facts. Everybody can have a
Exactly.
theory, but it's only the facts that can move us forward.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I started, I think, about 7 years ago on radio, but I started 34 years ago with research.
hey,
And
hey.
so what I found out was when they started to accuse us, conspiracy theorists, of whatever, it was because we had the truth. We were telling the truth. And there was no longer any conspiracies to report on. They were already here in front of your face.
In your face.
Yeah. Oh,
That's often where they hide them, right in
exactly.
plain sight.
Exactly. Yeah. This thing that just happened in Orlando, what do you think of that? I
It's
agree.
it's really, really interesting. My God, it's a massacre! And now we should be extremely upset and want to blow up innocent countries. My God, these Muslim terrorists, we need to do something. Oh, sorry, he wasn't Muslim. Yes, he was. His father he wanted to be a Taliban president.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to start with this? It's just like when you make a pie, you have certain ingredients. I'm not very good in the kitchen, but that I know. You follow a recipe, and when you make the pie, you can have different taste, different color, different shapes. It's still a pie. When you make false flag operations, a false flag operation is where you attack yourself and then blame it on someone else, so that you can then get your solution accepted by the population. It's built on an old Roman template called problem, reaction, solution.
That's right.
The few in power, and all over during the centuries, there's always been a few among us that's thought, well, sod the rest of you. We are gonna be the elite, and the rest of you can just work and feed and do whatever, polish our fingernails and toes or whatever. We will rule you. And how do they do that? How do the few control the masses? The only way they can do that is through fear. Through fear, they can get us under control. So during all of these centuries and millenniums, they have had to, if there wasn't an enemy out there, they needed to create one. So they have created boogeymen, and over the years, these boogeymen have just been upgraded and changed names on, but it's still the same. It's not something out there that says boo. So what they do is they secretly, the few in power, they secretly create a problem. These days, bombs, mass shootings, that's it.
Yeah.
Or refugee, now we're being invaded by refugees, or viruses these days, or financial crashes. These are the things that is the trend right now. And then, especially bombs, they love bombs or gunsmoke because they need the drama. And the whole thing nowadays is set to be pumped out through media. They don't have to do so much more than just get it out through the sewage thing you got in your living room that is black with a remote control. That is a sewage if you are not aware of it. When you click on the on button, you will open up the sewage canal into your life, into your head, and into the lives of your children and other people. You don't even know that it's sewage water that is pumping all over you because it smells nice. They've added these things, so it's very nice packages, but it's still going into your brain, absolute crap. So they only need to focus on that. So they secretly create a problem, a bomb or something like that, to get an emotional reaction from us, the normal people. They want an emotional reaction. They want so that we don't use the brain, that we just react instead of taking a step back, breathing, saying what's going on, and then act once we're in imbalance. Here they want us to just freak out so that we will say, oh my God, we are under attack, and then we turn towards the ones that we think are there to protect us, not understanding that it's actually them who have created the problem, saying, please save us, save us. Yep. And then they will say, well, the only way we can solve this horrible problem is, and in comes the solution. And it is the same, and the same solution every single time.
I was looking at...
You have to pay.
Yeah, I was looking at what they accomplished with this thing in Oregon. First of all, they got the GoFundMe...
Or
in Orlando, I'm sorry. Yeah. First of all, they got the FundMe accounts filled up with $2 million in a day and a half. And I'm pretty sure when I have time to go back, I'll check and see, but I think those FundMe accounts were already set up before the event even happened. And we'll find out. Yeah. And so the other thing that was big that I saw them accomplish out of this, and how they did it, is what gets me. Because they want us to come to them, and they want us to say, please help us. We can't do it without you. Take our guns, it's okay. And that's what they're looking for. Ultimate goal is these guns. But in the process, they tried a new law in the United States where when the police pick you up by force, they take your DNA. They take your blood. By force. Well, that's not going to get their DNA data information as fast as they want it. So out of this thing that happened in Orlando, the people the first night said, how can we help? What can we do? We want to help. And they said, we need blood. Well, when you give blood, you have to give your name, give your address, give your background a little bit, and then you give them your blood. So hundreds and hundreds went in there, and the next day they put out an ad and they said, we're actually asking for all blood donors across the United States to donate until Thursday, today. Why they picked this date, I don't know. And so all these people are running in and giving their blood and giving voluntarily.
So how many liters of blood or gallons of blood is needed for 53 victims?
Yeah, really. And how long can they keep the blood? See, people aren't thinking. You can't keep that blood very long. You have to use that blood within a certain amount of time. So when you're giving that much blood, what are they really trying to accomplish? The DNA data list.
it's when you look at these operations, very often there's multiple causes or multiple reasons why they're doing
Hmm.
it. But uh, it is. I am really doing everything I can to go into extreme details with these different operations, not just to scream false flag as soon as it happens, but extreme detail. And I've done hundreds of interviews, many on different big tragedies in different countries, because it's only when you really show the evidence and in small details, step by step by step by step by step, that you can prove your case, and where people say, oh my god, this is just right, hidden in plain sight, right in our face. And at the moment, I'm doing a series of documentaries, somewhere between 13 and 15 documentaries, where I travel around and I go to on location where these things have happened, and then with a photographer. It's almost undercover because these operations are still ongoing. You know, like Charlie Hebdo, the November 13, the Copenhagen shooting, and so on. You think it happened a year ago? Well, you go there, the police are still there, the military is still there. You know, this is how it's done, and with surveillance cameras everywhere. So it's a bit scary to do it. But the thing is, once you put it, you put the official story, and then you put your findings of the real fact and just compare them. It is so obvious that we've been taken for a ride. And then also show the reason why each and every single one of these operations, why it has been carried out, and when, because, what date and what was the reason for that exact time, and so on. I must say, I was actually able to openly predict. I went out on international radio and predicted the Copenhagen shooting last February, 1 month before it happened. I pointed out the exact place it was going to happen and the time. I was wrong though, or I messed it up for them so they couldn't carry it out when it was planned. But instead, it took place 1 month exact on the hour later than I said.
And that's
The
what's
timelines
happening.
are so tight with these things.
Yep. And that's what's happening, Ole, is because the alternative news people are pushing the truth out
Yep.
there and are able to see ahead
Yep.
and open your mouth. You have to open your mouth. We've been able to stop a lot of plans that they had.
Yep.
Now I see them speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. Everything is going at high speed. Well,
Mm.
when people begin to feel cornered, and that's where we got them, that's when they come out at high speed and they make bad mistakes.
Mm. Yep.
So I believe now if every whistleblower would come out of the woodwork, excuse me, and put these guys on the run, this is it. We would have them. But we have to get these whistleblowers out here and open your mouth. Don't worry about the consequences, because we'll take care of that later.
I think that they are very scared at the moment, really, and I
They
can't
are.
blame them, because if you look at what they've been up to for so many years, I would be shit scared as well, because what they fear is that we will just lynch them or chop them up in small little pieces and use as a pizza. But that is not the way to go forward. I think we need to move forward non-violent, and really welcome them to get some courage and step forward as whistleblowers, just like you say, so that they can help us defrag this whole thing by their part.
Yeah.
Because all of these operations are totally compartmentalized, so very few people know the whole picture. And so all of us are important.
And I think, too, that the whistleblowers that we really would like to come forth out of the governments, they've been so compromised that they're afraid that we will hear and know everything about them as well. And I think they're afraid for that to come out more than anything. But we already know what they did to compromise them. We know about the little kids. We know about all that stuff.
Yeah. No, it's awful. It's awful. But the thing is, just like Chip, I mean, Chip has done more horrible things than most people have done in several lifetimes. Yet he has had the courage to step out, to stand up against these forces, which I think is just incredible. And that he's still alive, absolutely incredible. But he has used this and is now doing everything he can to redeem himself by exposing what he was part of.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with these things. You know, whatever you have been part of, you have a way, you have a possibility to with that info that you have been part of, by revealing it, that would also make your case a lot more easy to forgive. And also, you know, like with these elite groups, you know, one thing, pay back some of the trillions that you've stolen from us. That would make people less angry at you, or give us some of the patents that you have been part of stealing and shutting down from humanity. These type of things, offer them as peace offerings, you know, and let us see if we can solve this in a non-violent way. Because the main thing, I think, is not revenge. The main thing is that we transcend this whole thing, and that we get Mother Earth back in balance, save nature, save nations, you know, and become brothers and sisters the way this whole beautiful planet was designed to be. I mean, if you look at nature, look at how advanced the balance and the sophistication of the whole thing. Your immune system, all of these things are just so beautiful, and then we are there messing the whole thing up. I don't think it's supposed to be like that, and
No.
we need to get it back in balance.
I agree. And only truth is going to do that. Nothing else can do it.
But it takes some cojones. It takes courage.
It's true.
But this is the wonderful thing, I think, with life, is that when you're brave, when you meet your fears, I mean, we all have fears, but when you're strong enough to meet your fears, it's like life rewards you. New doors open, you think it's the end of the world, and then suddenly you're surrounded by a new possibility, a new way that you couldn't see before. So,
yeah, and I think when you meet your fears as well, all of a sudden you discover what freedom really is.
Yeah.
Because you are absolutely free. You'll say whatever you have to say, it doesn't matter. And when you're no longer afraid to die, you're the worst enemy they ever come across.
I know, Kathy, I know.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. But it is like people that take sort of like a front position, you come to a point, I think most of us have had to come to a point where it's like, I might die. You know, this is how serious it is. But you have to die. They say you die anyway, you know, sooner or later. So you might as well go out and be proud of yourself the way you've dealt with this situation, even though the price was your life. At least I'm happy to
We're
meet
saving thousands of lives a day. And every whistleblower that would come out is saving thousands of lives for every one they took.
Yeah,
those things is what counts spiritually in each one of us. That's what turns it around for us, is that kind of freedom. The other thing is, I come from a Christian angle of things, and so I believe that if they decide to kill me and send me up to the Father, I'm going to ask him for the strongest horse he's got, and I'm coming back. And I will be the worst enemy Satan has ever seen.
I would like to meet you on that horseback.
You might see me one day. Well, I'm not afraid to die. I'm looking forward to it. And that's the trick, is that you look forward to that.
But just like you say, that makes you the worst type of enemy, because how do you deal with somebody like you? How do they deal with somebody like me? And this is one of, I was just in Sweden a little while ago, and at a really interesting workshop. It was a group of trackers, former military intelligence people, police officers, and normal people as well. and they were having workshops. They've had those for 10 years based on Apache tracking. And they invited me as a speaker to compare tracking methods, which I thought was really interesting. And I totally lost the thread now. I need some sleep, Kathy. What was I talking about? I don't know.
Tracking. They were tracking something.
Yeah.
They were
Anyway.
policemen and.
But what were we talking about before that?
Oh, we're talking about not being afraid to die. And how you become the enemy of evil.
Exactly. And then I was asked, somebody asked me, so if what you're saying it's true about what I was talking about, all my exposure of these major assassinations and so on, where a lot of people who have been in these minefields have died. And I mean, I've had death threats and so on as well, so it's not a comfortable area to get into. And they said, so how come you are alive? And I say, I don't know. I just know that it is like you said about Christian background. I think that people like Jesus and Muhammad, or especially Jesus and Buddha, they cracked the code of this matrix. And I think that they knew, or they found out, that if you meet problems with love is the highest frequency in the universe. Fear is the lowest. If you meet it with love, it gets solved. And I've seen in laboratories when they've taken a high frequency and a low frequency and let the two meet, it's not that they start struggling in the middle and they come out in some like kind of a gray zone. The lower one just gets annulled. It disappears, just like when you switch the light on in a dark room. The shadows are not struggling and hanging like, oh, I'm not leaving. They just, boom, they're gone. And I think what Jesus was saying is that whatever the problem is, meet it with a higher frequency. And while you're at it, why not meet it with the highest? Meet it with love. Mm-hmm. So my interrogation, at least I know that my life is so much more fulfilled when whatever the situation is, I fill my heart with love, and boom, every time it works, even with SWAT teams or police or assassins. If you can meet them fearlessly, but with love in your heart, not buying into the fear, something happens. Something diffuses this sometimes very dangerous situation, and then a little while down the line, suddenly you become friends. It's fantastic. I get such a kick out of these situations where that looks so dangerous and looks so horrible, and then boom, something beautiful comes out of it. But it is up to us. We need to stay in love to be able to transcend these situations or die. If you fail, boom, you're dead. So,
yeah, exactly.
Interesting times.
You know, the word frequency, I've been studying that word for about a year now.
Yeah.
And I know that with every sickness we have, especially autoimmune diseases, they come from low frequency, from hate, from unforgiveness, from all the low frequency type of things that Satan puts out there. And all the healing comes in love, in that frequency that's created by love. So we don't have to have these doctors. We don't have to have all this illness. And interestingly enough, scientists have discovered this. And they have machines now that they've created with the frequency that is of love, the high frequency. And that's it. And no, Mike, I'm not. So you go ahead and jump in here, please, because I'll be right back.
All righty. Yeah, so what do you, I just kind of want to know, did you investigate or put some time into 9/11 by any chance?
God, yeah. I've been into more or less all of them.
Okay, what's your thoughts on that? Who do you think was behind it?
Who was behind it is the way I see the world. after these years. Maybe I'm simplifying it too much, but it's almost like we're looking at one conspiracy, but connecting all of them. It comes back to the same basic dark power behind them, and it's just different symptoms of the same power structure. And I think when you look at 9/11, total inside jobs, but also with Mossad involvement and funded from other sides and so on. But we're talking about the same global power structure, using it as a false flag to start the war on terror at that part. But this is part of a global agenda.
Oh, I would agree with that 100%. Do you think that? Well, this is what concerned me was when the nightclub shooting happened in Paris. Immediately, it was almost like it was scripted. I guess he's prime minister or whatever they call the gentleman. Declared martial law, shut down all our alternative news, and from
President Hollande.
Okay, yeah, and from what I understand, they're still arresting. If you live over there and you make any kind of a comment about it whatsoever, they just throw you in jail.
I know. I just came back there. I was there a month ago. I went down there with a photographer. We went more or less undercover, and we went to all the different cafes where the shooting is said to have taken place. We went to the Bataclan Music Theatre. We went to the Charlie Hebdo office as well, because these are very, very close in distance. We went to where the police officer is said to have been killed at the Charlie Hebdo shooting and so on. And the whole center of Paris is like a military zone. Do you know these Robocops that with the uniforms look like Robocops? They were there. We were sitting. It was a normal Tuesday or Wednesday, nice sunny day. People were in the cafes. There was nothing going on. And then at Place de République in the center of Paris, doom, doom, doom. You had like two lines of, I think, 20, 30 of these Robocops coming, doom, 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 doom. And then they came out to Place de la République and just went in a half a circle, just standing there like a anti-demonstration, what do you call it, riot police, just standing there and looking scary. And people were just walking around looking, what are you doing here? And then after 15 minutes, turn around, doom, 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 back. And then they went away with, I think there were 6 or 8 vans filled with them, with sirens, rear, rear, rear. And then they were followed by police cars, and then undercover police cars, and then undercover policemen on motorbikes, ordinary motorbikes, but with blue lights, do, 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 do. So they went a whole caravan away. And then just a few minutes later, you saw another 4 or 6 vans coming from another direction. And I timed it. Nothing was going on. There was nothing dangerous happening. There was nothing going on. And then I timed it. Every 2 or 3 minutes, you could hear police sirens going up and down, up and down. So it's like, I would say this is what they're trying to persuade us to believe, that this is the new normal, that they are there to protect us. They are absolutely not there to protect us. They're there to control us. That's the whole thing. And in the subway, they were like fully armed people in camouflage uniforms with AK-47, not AK-47s, but automatic weapons. And it's just like bizarre. And this is based on fake terror. All of these things, I have not been able to find a real terror event ever, hardly, because every single time it goes back into the Gladio network, into the strategy of tension, this beautiful operation that the CIA and NSC created many, many years ago, which is behind more or less all the terror we see. So it's like, it's terror, it's all of these things based on fake terror, based on fake terror, based on lies, on other lies, and lies and lies. So this is why it's so important to uncover every single one of them, to show here's another fake one, here's another fake one. And that's what I'm devoting my life to.
Yeah, it does put you to sleep after a while. It's getting so easy to spot it. Far too easy.
It's like...
Go ahead.
No, as soon as they talk about a lone crazy guy, please be aware. The reason why they want the person alone is then by law there's no conspiracy. And there's no planning behind it. There's nothing. So they legally don't have to look into it the same way as if more than one person was involved. The reason why they want this person crazy is that then there was no motive. There was no reason. He was just crazy. He went up, he shot, he blew them, whatever. He was crazy. So that's case closed, as if, and especially if they manage to get that person dead right away, then it's case closed. Thank you and goodbye. Go home, folks. We'll take care of the rest.
Nothing to see here. Yep.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's fantastic because due to fluoride in the water and all of these things, they numbed us down so much that now they need to deliver the message so fast so that we will be able to put the dots together. And so very often in media, which is controlled by them nowadays, especially the US media, it's a joke where I think six owners control like 96% of all media in the US, and these 6 owners are also connected. Anyway, so in media, you will see somebody, a so-called journalist will interview somebody. There's a problem has happened. An explosion, a mass shooting, these are the things, or gang riots or something like that. So they're interviewing someone. Please be aware that the one they're interviewing is most probably part of the operation. Okay, so they interview. What did you see? The person will then say, oh, it was horrible. They were chopping up and blowing up or sawing the head of someone. It was awful, awful, awful. There to tell you, the viewer, to pump you up with this thing so that you will react, oh my God, that's awful. It has to stop. Something needs to be done. That's the reaction they want. And then we are in open, because we're so openly terrified, emotionally as well. So we're totally open for the solution that will be served to us. And that will most probably come from the reporter. So the reporter would say something like, so yeah, now we need to have more surveillance at airports, or we need more surveillance that, or we need there will be some. It will be problem for your reaction, and the solution will come within 30 seconds. So the war on terror, where did that come? Nobody had heard about it. Suddenly you had multiple nations were backing this whole thing up. A war on terror, what does that mean? Who are you fighting? It's a war that can be kept going forever and ever, because the enemy is invisible. Whoever you point at can be the enemy. And it's the same here with these mass shootings. Right away, the witnesses or whatever will talk about gun control. We need to get rid, and they want the automatic weapons to go first. Then it will go down. In the end, they want knives and forks as well. You know, it will just be degraded, because these people behind it are such cowards that they can only invade if there's no resistance whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So whatever you do, if I can recommend anyone, I'm totally non-violent, pro-peace person, but I say do not give up the guns, because that is what they are trying to do. They want you to give up the gun. They want you to think that it's the gun that is the problem, not that there was some crazy lunatic running around with it shooting people. Maybe we should make it pro-treatment of mad people. That's never the case. They want the weapon to be the problem, so that they can come in and save you by taking away your arms. So,
Mike, do you remember last night what we were saying about the arms? What Dallas was saying, that they are owned by some company which is connected to the government, and every time they do these shootings, their sales go up so high you can't believe it, and we're just feeding them more money.
It is a double thing, you know. They play both sides.
Yeah.
So that's how they do it. They play both sides. So they say, the people who say, okay, we will give up our guns, great, we take those. And the ones that are not buying it, well, we'll sell you some guns then we can create more of this mayhem, so we can make more. And so they do both sides.
Yeah.
So it's a rigged game.
Yeah, it is. I learned all of that when I went to Nicaragua because my ex-husband his father was the president of the Contras. And so I went in there during the war to find 26 missing missionaries that hadn't been heard from by their families for some time. And what I discovered when I was in there and where my eyes got opened up was that we were funding both sides, arming both sides, training both sides, and then once that we got that all done, then there would be a group of internationalistas that would go in first into every country, incite these riots, incite these wars. Once they had them going, then our peacekeeping forces would come in and fund both sides, arm both sides, train both sides. Then everybody would leave and let them kill each other.
You have just described the pie. It's a different type of pie, but that is the exact recipe you just described.
Yeah. That's what I discovered when I was down there. And they're moving into Central America right now, into Honduras, which is a neutral country, and they're doing the same thing. But they're fighting terror down there. And what is a terror war? It really is just licensing them to kill. When you put terror to it, they can shoot anybody and call anybody a terrorist, and they have a license to do it. That's what it is.
Do you know I'm labeled a terrorist?
So am I.
I know. And I know, it's amazing. David Cameron, the British leader of the parliament, he went out and said that now we have a new type of threat. It's the domestic terrorist, non-violent, but just as dangerous as ISIS and ISIL and all of whatever they call that group of their own.
But that's I kind of wear that little badge with pride, because if truth makes me a terrorist, then that must be a new terrorist move.
For sure.
That's okay.
But you know, I have a British friend. He's an amazing guy. He's a researcher called Nicholas Colostrum. If you think that brave people look like James Bond and so on, no. Very often they look nothing like it. He's a very anonymous English gentleman. He is incredibly brave in the way he's been exposing things. And when Cameron went out and did this, labeled us terrorist, he went with a friend and a camera. You can find it on YouTube. He went to the Scotland Yard, and he had written them a letter before saying that he wanted to give himself in, because now he wanted to be a responsible citizen, and since the leader of the country had labeled him a terrorist, he wanted to give himself up. And he went up there. It's all filmed. He goes up to Scotland Yard. They have no idea how to deal with him. They're just standing there shaking their head, not knowing, is he crazy? What's he up to? But it's just a fantastic way of showing the bluff and the madness of it all by confronting it. I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And
I
one way of doing it, one way of exposing these things, totally non-violent, but confronting it.
Yeah, I'm sure he separated their head right from their shoulder when he got up there and did that. And that's kind of the way. That's the way Lavoy Finicum was. Lavoy was fearless. He faced them all when he found all their cameras that they had installed, watching all of them. He tore down the cameras, and he filmed himself doing it so that they would know that it was him behind it. You know, we just can't fear anymore.
No. It's just very, very sad that people have to lose their lives. And once again, when you look at cowardly ways of killing someone, look at what they did to him.
Yeah.
Really, what can you say except...
Yeah, we've got a whole evil system full of cowards. That's what they are. They're cowards.
Yep. Yeah, extreme cowards. Cowards. And these people... I would say, when you look at the so-called powerful people, I would say the talents and what they've given to the world is what they're good at is deceit, misery, being cowards, killing in in from behind desks, signing papers and death contracts, death lists, and just there's no honor whatsoever anywhere. It's really disgraceful what's going on.
No.
And I spoke to Chip. He was telling me about how they did with the veterans and so on, where he said that to expose some of the people that are signing these orders for soldiers to go out and get killed and so on. He said, let's find the individuals who are doing these things and expose them by name and everything like that. And so one of the things was that he and some veterans went to the schools of these people's children and was just standing outside there with posters saying, this and your daddy, this and this is a killer. It's a serial killer, mass killer, because that person is causing many, many, many people's lives. And so people were reacting, saying to Chip, but that is awful. How can you do that to a child? Well, the thing is, it is based on truth. And these people, how can you reach to them if you try in normal ways? They will just laugh. If you try legal ways, they'll just laugh. But when you go through the children, it might reach them. And Chip said, listen, if that child gets upset or whatever, has to cry a little to accomplish that, I'm fine with that, compared to people being slaughtered, killed, blown to pieces, and so on.
Yeah.
I don't know what is right or wrong. I just know that is also an approach to expose this thing.
In your investigation in Charlie Hebdo,
yeah,
any dead at all?
It's a very good question, a bizarre question, because it should be so easy to answer that right away. And I know for sure that the police officer that is, the guy that was shot on the pavement, absolutely not shot on the pavement. That whole thing is just a film sequence. I've even been on site. I filmed myself rolling in the exact place where he was shot and so on. This guy is doing great. He lives in Buenos Aires. As far as I know, he was paid $666,000 for his part in this whole thing.
Interesting number, huh?
Isn't it? They really love these numbers. And when it comes to these people at the Charlie Hebdo office, I am very confused. I do not believe that there were any real victims, but what happened to them, I'm not sure. And also, I just want to point out that I think the last few days before the shooting, also the Charlie Hebdo staff were moving offices. The Charlie Hebdo office has moved to 4 different locations, moving around, one of them being next door to the police headquarters. And also Charlie Hebdo is still only one in a long row of coordinated attacks, where I would say especially Charlie Hebdo, the Copenhagen shooting, the November the 13th shooting, massacre, the Bataclan and so on, and the Brussels, all of these very closely connected, carried out by the same forces. They even leave like small little hints for the upcoming event. It's bizarre. So these are the things I really, really look for, the thing. And in the latest one in Brussels, that's why I've been able to find out the hint they left for the next upcoming event was the Eiffel Tower, that they were going to attack the Eiffel Tower. And I was on Kevin Barrett, Dr. Kevin Barrett's show, No Lies or Truth Jihad Radio, and he was in Paris just before the Halloween massacre, and he said when I mentioned the Eiffel Tower being the next target, he said how strange is that, because when he came to Paris the last time, there were like postcards of the Eiffel Tower. These cards you can flick and they change the image. And it was the Eiffel Tower with one commercial plane hitting it. And then when you flicked it, it was an old-timer, double-decker that was flying into the Eiffel Tower. But bizarre things, they leave all of these small little signs out there. And as far as I've been able to find out, the reason why they leave these tracks or things out there in plain sight is because the way they understand the law of karma is if you inform your victim about what is going to happen and the victim is not reacting, then the karma, the bad karma, is on the shoulders of the victim, not the attacker.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's why they use movies to tell everything first.
In movies and magazines and the operations themselves. And I spoke to Chip about this thing, and I said, "What do you think?" And he said, when it comes to we were talking about numerology as well, with dates and times and so on, why they pick these times, and also if it's true or if it's just things that we see that is not really there. And he says he has no idea. When they were given task, he was part of taking out, I think, 14 or 17 people in Western Europe or the Western world. His team, Pegasus, and he said that they were just given a target, and it was very, very difficult for them to decide an exact time or date because the target can keep moving. You could never say anything for sure. But when it comes to devices, explosives and so on, where you can totally control the time of the detonation, that is where it's much more plausible or possible. And he also said that he's never heard of this thing, and he never thought of it either, but he said that every time they were given an assignment to terminate someone, like he so poetically calls it, he said that they had to confront the target verbally first. They had to give the target the possibility to what he said, to conform. So they had to go up and say and warn the target to say, listen, if you don't do this or this or this, we will kill you. And he said it made him very, very uncomfortable to have to do that because he put himself in danger and his team, because nobody knows how somebody will react. And he said then if they conformed, fine. If not, then it was a green light. They could kill the person. And he said now, comparing to this thing about the law of karma, he said it makes absolute sense, perfect sense. You still there?
I am.
Are you, Mike?
Yeah.
I think we lost Kathy.
Sorry, I was back here on mute, talking away. What I was going to say is that another thing they do is they usually will pick those dates according to their rituals that they are still performing. And then those people they kill become part of a ritual.
Yeah.
It's amazing, these rituals and the dates that they line up. They try to line them up with the Bible frequently. But a lot of it is done according to the Zoroaster, which is a book that the Cabal uses.
Yeah, it's like every single time there's, when it comes to these bigger operations, you can bet that it's on Veterans Days or Halloween or Valentine, or it's a very symbolic day.
Yeah, see, I've been curious as to why Obama picked today, the 16th, to terminate flying the flags upside down. Why didn't he go for a full week? Why didn't, 7 days, whatever? But he picked today. And then why did they pick today to stop collecting the blood?
I have no idea. Ask him.
Yeah.
Or ask Michael.
Yeah.
Maybe she knows.
She might.
No, it's... sorry?
Oh, I was just going to comment. Jen said something that I didn't catch. Today does have 3 6s in it, oddly enough. And the day, remember I showed you how the day of the event added up to 666 as well?
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, is that they've got a ritual plan today, and I didn't have time to look it up because I keep track of their rituals. But something has to be some reason that they both picked the same dates.
Have you seen this very strange video with the Invictus Games?
No, I have not.
Have you heard of it?
I did, but I haven't seen it.
It's incredible. You got Queen Elizabeth. I mean, this is not for rookies. Once you start seeing how the New World Order agenda, what kind of people and so on, like anyone who still believes in Obama and so on, sorry, this might be breaking news for you. But anyway, you got the English Queen, who is extremely high up in all of this mess. She never makes any public speeches on only on Christmas Eve, I think, or New Year's Eve in England. Never, ever has she come out saying anything. And then you got one of the Princess Diana's sons. He is the patron of the games, the Invictus Games, where it is for veterans that has been wounded in war and so on, like a what do you call it, like an Olympic Games, but for these veterans. And what they've done is, I would say they almost hijacked the word "I am," which is said to be the most powerful words when you in manifesting whatever it is you want in your life. And when the way they put it together is like I and am underneath, making it a bit of like a pyramid shape, which is their favorite shape as well. The prizes that these games are always also pyramid shaped glass prizes. But before this whole thing, you got the English prince. He's sitting talking to the queen, and he's telling her about these games. And she says, "Ooh, boom!" And then he suddenly gets an SMS on his mobile, and it's Michelle and Barack Obama on the other side, saying, talking about these games. Where Barack Obama says, "Well, you better watch out for what you wish for," and then both the Queen, the Prince, Obama, and Michelle, they go, boom. Like this. And these games were in Orlando, very close to where the Pulse Club was, and this whole boom thing. And this has started a whole campaign where people who are joining up, they're saying, oh, this boom, Orlando, boom, coming up to this thing that happened in Orlando. I don't know if it's connected, but I really would like to check it out more because it's totally bizarre.
Of course it is. It's a ritual they did.
I know, Kathy, but I don't want to say that blatantly. But I totally believe that as well.
Are you saying I'm being blatant? Yes.
But then you look at it. It's easy to say these things about false flag. I just want to say that before the Boston bombing, the term false flag operation was more or less unheard of. Nobody knew about it. I was I've been pumping this out for years and years and years, but nobody knew even what it was. And now, false flag operation is like it used everywhere. So it's fantastic. The awakening to these things and how they're carried out is just amplifying.
Yeah.
But when you look at the details, it's just a matter of seeing what doesn't match up. You can very easily see quickly. For instance, just a thing like that, you got, this horrible thing is happening in Orlando. What are you looking at? You're looking at all these horrific scenes? No, not really. You're looking at a lot of vehicles in the dark with flashing lights. That's what you're looking at. When was the film? I don't know. But they say it's live footage. Okay. Then you see people being carried. There's especially one guy with red shoes. They're quite a heavy set guy.
Yeah.
The hat. They're carrying. Yeah. When you look at a Google map, when you really start checking out, for one thing, the whole thing is in a very concealed small area, right in the center of Orlando. It's the club is called the Pulse, in the heartbeat of Orlando. And then you see it on Google Map, you check out all the streets, and suddenly you see, hang on a second, they're carrying the victims towards the shooting.
Yeah.
And then there's some raw footage where suddenly they put this victim down and he stands on his own legs. He was shot in one leg. If you have an AR-15 bullet in your leg, I would say I would not like to walk very far. He's standing doing great. And you got, where are the ambulances? Where are all the ambulances? Where are all the sirens? Why is there no sound? Then they take the victims and throw them up on the back of a pickup. I mean, what is that? It doesn't match up, but just very quickly these things. And then you start seeing this whole thing. I tell you, sometimes I've been thinking about going up to these people and saying, listen, hire me. I know these things. I know what to look out for. Together with me, we can accomplish something good when it comes to false flags. Things that people would not be able to figure out. At least I think it could be an inspiration for you, because you are making such an awful job of it. I'm kidding. But I really, sometimes I've been thinking, this Photoshop thing, oh God, it's so bad.
It is.
And this setup, come on, guys, at least get the angles right, the timeline correct, walk in the right direction, get the story straight, get a crisis actress that's not smiling all the time, or had to have like a teleprompter in front of her. Did you hear the mother of this? She was like, my eye, we don't know where my son is.
Reading everything.
Reading, but also, what was she saying? She was saying, for one thing, the reporter says, so what is your son's full name? Have you ever heard that question before from a reporter? No. But it's there to make sure that she's connected to, so her son's name would be among the victims. She couldn't hardly remember his name. So what's your son's name? She was just saying, hang on. Okay, Christopher, or whatever it was. And then she says later in the whole thing, the whole crying thing, she says something to the meaning of, that club, such a horrible place nobody wants to go to. Whoop. And then she says, we need to ban assault rifles.
Yeah.
So just within a few seconds, she said, oh, my son is missing. That's horrible emotional reaction. Then she says, gays are horrible.
Yeah.
A club that nobody wants to go to.
Yeah.
She says, that's disgusting. And then she says, ban all assault rifles. So within a few, bam, 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 you get the whole package.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just,
it actually made me mad when I first realized what she was doing, because I thought, man, you people just take us for stupid. That's what you think we are, is stupid.
But do you know why they can't use good actors? Because
no
they're
good
all
actor
fakers.
would do it. No.
No, but also the good actors are being used in commercials and all over the place. So we would be able to track them down. So here they need to use the worst ones, people that are not very good at it. And then they have this, what is called duping delight, this is a psychological term for especially psychopaths. When they know they're manipulating you, they smile because they get a kick out of it. Exactly. And you have all of these people, oh, they chopped the head of my father. They use a saw and chop the head off. And at the same time, smiling. Turn down the volume when you listen to these interviews. Turn down the volume. Check out the body language. You can see right away, this person, a liar.
Yeah.
Very, very bad liar. And also the product placement. I love that one. Focus, when you look at these images, especially the still photos and so on, look in the absolute center of many of these photos. Look at where the focus is really pulled in. Very often it's near where the blood is, because that is where your eyes would be attracted. And you will find it like a Puma bag, a Nike. Nike is there so many times, especially around the latest attacks. Nike.
They get their advertisement in there.
It's bizarre. And Coca-Cola as well. Coca-Cola. Do you know the 7/7 bomb in London, where they blew up the subway station and a bus?
Yeah.
On the side of the bus that was totally prepared before they had cut off the top of the roof. So when it exploded, it just went like this, and the sides went like this, like a perfectly opened Christmas package or parcel. Anyway, on the side of it, there's a massive big poster with no text but a Coca-Cola bottle with an explosion behind it. So all of these photos of the blown up bus, boom, they're in your face.
Isn't that something? And only people really, really evil could think of all of this. I mean, the general population doesn't have this evil mind to go there, and that's part of why I think they don't believe, because they just can't believe anybody could be so evil.
Do you know, I was on, I think it was Winnie Eastwood show in New Zealand, and we were talking about the mentality behind all of these things. And I said, I don't get it at all. It is just bizarre, the whole thing. And he said, the only reason why you don't understand the logic is because you're not a psychopathic killer. If you
That's
were,
right.
this would make perfect sense to you.
That's right. Yeah.
But this is also why they can't figure us out, because they don't have the emotions, they don't have the compassion, the capability of doing these things. You know, they don't know how to handle us. And I would say also, this is why they're pumping all of these horror films, especially around 2012. There was all of these films about doomsday and so on, and it's always the same, you know, that things go really awful, and then everybody's just trying to kill each other, eat each other, you know, be horrible to each other. But when you look what happens when there is a disaster somewhere in the world, people join up and help. When people don't have a lot, they share. When they have a lot, they don't care. It's very the contrary. The human being is so beautiful in difficult situations. Suddenly something else kicks in and you start caring about your neighbor and so on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, compassion kicks in, and emotion.
I love compassion. I really do.
Yeah. You know, what was just occurring to me while you were talking, I don't know why this thought came to me, but it's true. Those that are in the Congress and those that are in higher up positions that know the truth about these things and don't come forth with it because they have been compromised in whatever way, so they're trying to protect their butts, they are just as guilty for killing all these people around the world as the man that pulled the trigger.
Yeah. And
maybe
sometimes
more guilty.
Maybe more. Yeah, because the one pulling the trigger might be under fire and just trying to save his own butt, you know, being totally terrified, a young person not knowing anything in life, and then suddenly in an awful situation, very stressful and so on. But these other ones who know what's going on and who's not reacting, I would say that is even worse. And who's signing the papers, sending people out like that, getting funded behind the back, you know, so that they can get another villa or car or whatever. But this is blood money on the lowest level. I mean, the thing is, I would say government and so on. What are we looking at? We're looking at organized crime. The whole system has been hijacked. If you're thinking Trump or Hillary or Bush, I mean, where do you want to shoot yourself? From the right, the left, the forward? It's the same thing. But I must say, inside information that I have received is that the whole idea is to make both of them look totally horrific, and then get martial law in there due to these horrible events from Orlando, etc. So that in the end, martial law and the Constitution goodbye out of the window, and Obama for a third term. That's what I know.
I'm going to have you repeat that again because your Skype is acting up.
Okay, so as far as I've been able to find out and what I've been informed by inside sources is that the plan is not Trump, not Hillary. That is a whole thing to just stir the whole thing up, making also both of them looking totally crazy. Then with the help of things like Orlando, you pump this whole thing up, loads of new false flag operations that would cause Obama to say, oh my God, we need martial law. Boom. That will lock down the country, the elections more or less, and then knock out the Constitution, throw it out of the window, and get Obama in for a third term. That is the overhead plan as far as I've been able to find out.
Yeah,
Not Hillary,
that's exactly what I
Trump,
found out.
but Obama for a third one.
Yeah, yeah. And I have been told that there's a plan to do away with Trump in July. So we'll see if that's true or not. But yeah, it's getting bad.
It's shark waters. You know, I don't envy these people up there because, my God, they're surrounded by sharks.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I'm not sure, Mike, when is the GOP convention?
I'm not sure. I don't keep up on that stuff. I'm sure probably somebody in chat knows, though.
I think it might be the end of this month. But anyway, at that convention, the GOP convention, they plan already on having a ton of provocateurs there to get things started and get a big riot going. And I think they're going to use that for another event as well.
I tell you, I love provocateurs. I love spotting them. It's like a hobby for me in a crowd, because either they're thugs, you know, hired thugs, or you can spot them. It's military people or security people and so on. You can spot them. They're often very well balanced in their body, you know, fit. They have this way of looking like they, you know, when you've been standing outside guarding an embassy for hours and hours, you know, this radar type of thing. Also, they're almost always, they got good footwear, even though they look like a thug, but the footwear, good footwear, and often military type of things because they need to be comfortable. And often, I love it, you know, the crowd is really quiet, and then suddenly somebody just starts throwing rocks or screaming. That just scares the guy. And see the people that start joining up, they would be part of it. And often you have backup teams with provocateurs. If the first ones can't get it going, then you will just get another team in to amplify it. So really, if the crowd just backs down and stay quiet and just start pointing, that is a perfect way of exposing them. You know, just, there's one of them. We had a meeting in, you know, I told you about this group of private investigators in Sweden, and there was a meeting, and suddenly in the crowd, I recognized one guy from Swedish secret police because he had been on a TV documentary, and so I just went to everyone saying, "Listen, do you know this guy over there?" Because he was very discreet in the background, just observing, making notes, you know, finding out about all of us. So it ended up with everybody just pointing at him saying, "Hello, how are you?" And we became friends, or at least he thought so, and we were so we could ask him a lot of questions, and since we were a big group and he was only one, he answered a lot without, he was just to really turn the whole pie around against them, you know, by recognizing them.
See, that's it. And what we have to do, if we get rid of the fear, then we can play on their own level. And we can turn things around very easily. But the fear is what stops us from doing it.
So that's what I said. Focus on becoming fearless. You know, when things like this happens, ask yourself the question, who benefits from me reacting the way they want? Who benefits? It's always the same question. Cui bono? So something happens, instead of going into reaction, like that, take a walk, you know, go hug a tree, go hug a neighbor, hug a police officer, whatever, breathe, go around, come back, be a responsible citizen, and because you have to inform yourself watching the news, not really, but you have to inform yourself, find your good sources of information, and then come back, put it on again or whatever, and then see, okay, what's going on here? This is happening. I'm not reacting. I'm acting when I am I'm in balance and I decide to take a step forward in whatever direction. So take the power back, it is, the, they are so few. They are so few.
Yep. Yep.
We say, yeah, but they're so powerful. Not really. When you look at these people, what are they? Most of them are old guys. Yeah, but they've got all this high-tech technology, weaponry, and so on. Okay, so you think Henry Kissinger would know how to maneuver a drone? I think not. It's us who are doing it to ourselves. We are doing it for them,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but it's high-tech everything. Well, anyone around in their age class, can they do anything hardly with a laptop except write out an order to kill someone? I don't think so. Any problem, they have people fixing it for them. Go there, shoot him, do that, do that. They themselves are useless, most of them. The only thing they can do is lie, cheat, this. It's their talents,
Yeah.
So the thing is, I think for all of us to look in the mirror and see, what am I doing? Am I in any way or form playing a part in their machine? Because they have compartmentalized everything so that we don't know the whole scenario. Every one of us are just doing what we think is the right thing. We're doing good. We're being good people, not understanding, many of us, that we are actually doing the dirty work for them.
Exactly. And that's what I was talking to Mike about the other day, is that I have to check myself all the time and make sure that I'm not feeding the beast by the things that I discover.
Yeah. Very, very, very good point. It's a very good standpoint to always question yourself, question the info, question people around you, not in a negative way, just like, okay, who are you? The people, in my world, in my line of so-called work, people are approaching me. I never know who they are. Former CIA operatives. They say once CIA, always CIA. I don't know. How should I know? I only know about myself. But keep questioning. And some people that look awful, fantastic people. Some people that look really nice, horrific people hiding. It's a constant questioning. Look from different angles. Say what is called sector viewing. Look a little from here, a little
exactly
from there, up, down.
Yeah.
And move around. Also, because very often it's like an illusionist. They say, look over here, look over here. So everybody is checking in that direction instead of saying, hang on, maybe I should look over here. When a bomb goes off over here, or a scandal like Monica Lewinsky or O.J. Simpson, the whole media span is there instead of seeing, hang on, I'm going to check at least what's going on over here, because that's where
right.
the real action is going on.
That's
it's like,
right.
Go. And then, boom, when people are starting to focus again, they stop it. Okay, now, take it. So
that's why when these big things happen now, I don't pay any attention to them at first. I go look for the distraction, because they did this for a distraction. And what are they distracting from? What is their lie they're trying to hide?
And I want to say, so what was Orlando? Was that a distraction as well? What was happening at the exact same time? The Bilderberg meeting in Germany.
Yeah, exactly. And they were actually, their guys were hitting on these people that were going out or coming in, and they were questioning them. And these guys that attended the Bilderberger, they would run away from the journalist.
I know.
Literally run away. I was like, holy cow. So
I was the speaker outside the Bilderberg meeting in 2014. Very odd experience to be that close to such darkness, and then we were standing outside speaking. So it was very strange to speak to a crowd, but also knowing that they were listening in there. It was like the light and the dark was meeting. Very strong experience.
What is your opinion on Oregon and what went on there?
I know too little to answer that question. I have
Okay.
not had time to focus on that. But I do know that it was confusing because I recognized one of the women that was being interviewed there was the same person who was at the Sandy Hook and Boston bombing. Her name is, I think, Victoria Nunez or something like that. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Dark-haired woman with glasses. She was one of the neighbors to Adam Lanza. She was being interviewed there. She was interviewed at the Boston bombings, both after the event and also at nighttime with the shooting where the brothers were arrested. She was also at a wedding in New Mexico where it said that there was a wedding going on and then 4 shooters came in and just killed them, just like in a Tarantino movie. He was the witness there. And also in the Oregon stand down or whatever it was called, standoff, she had like a one of these big jackets with a fur thing around.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yep.
And I tracked her down. She was actually on the 16th of February this year. She was taking part of a poetry festival in a town like only 2 miles from Sandy Hook. You know, you can hire her. She plays the saxophone. She reads poetry. She's written her own books. It's right in your face. The arrogance is unreal. It is unreal.
So they infiltrated them even before the group got there. They used the Hammonds. I think they used the Hammonds because of their old age and because they'd been so beat upon by the BLM before. I think they used the Hammond situation to get the Bundys and the rest of them to feel compassion, to feel emotion, and to run to the rescue. And so the Ammon Bundy was there weeks before their protest. And at the protest, nobody knew that they were planning to make this division and go to the Malheur place. So everything was orchestrated.
Like I say, that specific event I had not had time to really look into. I know about it, but I don't know enough to comment on it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm... You know, I forgot all about that lady because somebody else did expose her during that time, and I think it was Pete Santilli.
She just keeps popping up.
Yeah.
But when you look at the arrogance of... you know, like one of the children that is said to have been killed in Sandy Hook, and then she ends up a few days later in the lap of Obama. I mean, the level of arrogance, and the same children being at the Super Bowl. It's the dead children just a few years older in the middle of the whole ceremony of the Super Bowl. And at the Olympics...
By the way,
at the Olympics, they had the whole thing with a blown-up bus representing England. Yeah. It's like, it is so in your face.
Yeah. Those hearings that they had on the Sandy Hook kids, I got to videotape those. Mm-hmm. And there never was a school there. It had been closed for 3 years. Those kids did not go down there to sing at that event. The kids from Sandy Hook never went. There were no buses that left town. There were no nothing. These kids were brought in from somewhere else. So they had been taken out of Sandy Hook, and later they show up singing. You're right. You're right.
I tell you, I have very few heroes in my life. Gandhi is one of them. But another man his name was Fletcher Prouty. He's the man who's called Mr. X in the JFK movie. He was part of the CIA, very, very high up in Pentagon, part of doing a lot of black ops and false flags in the world and so on. And then at the time of the JFK assassination, he just understood what he was part of and became a whistleblower and spent his whole life standing up, very honorable, exposing these things. And he said in one interview that I'm sure you can find on YouTube as well, he said that Alan Dulles and they were in Greece, and they were driving around, and then Dulles, the CIA director Alan Dulles, who was very central in the JFK assassination as well and the cover-up, he said, listen, Proudsley, do you know what's over there? And he was pointing at like a small little village, and it like a touristic type of thing, but a whole part of the village. And Proudsley said, I don't know, do you know, like a holiday resort or something? And Dulles said, no, it's all ours. All of them are ours. And he said, what? Yeah, sleeping agents, active families around operatives and so on, so that if ever we need them, we can just activate, you know. And according to Dulles, as far as I remember, they had in Greece, Italy, Germany, and so on. And this was way back. And I believe when you look around Sandy Hook, there's a lot of very weird things going around in that little town. Mm-hmm. So I would suggest that possibly that is such a stronghold of one of these agencies.
Yes, it
where
is.
Everyone there are involved.
Yeah. And supposedly all the money that was collected, and there was millions collected. They're even still today sending money. People are. And the families, they did not get much of that money. The government got most of it.
But also look at some of the families, you know, the fake families. They are making a bundle.
Yeah.
And here you also some of the there's especially one father that I forgot the name of now. He was one of the SWAT teams in another operation, you know, and also they, as far as I think, that he's been pointing out in yet another operation. You know, they use the same people. It's just that in one event they're like running around in a SWAT team uniform. In another one they're in the background in the bar. In another one they're the father. And so they just keep swapping them around.
Yeah.
And also, if I can please point out, why are the police walking around with balaclavas and so on, looking exactly like we were told terrorists looks like in the old days? Why were the shooters in Paris that witnesses saw dressed in black military clothes? Why were they very fit and so on? And where did they go? Why couldn't anyone find them? Not even the ones that blew themselves up. There were no traces at all. I mean, it's quite messy if you swallow a bomb, I tell you. But the reason why they're dressed like that, when also in San Bernardino, the description was the same as in Paris. Go wonder. Same 3 people in black military type clothes. The thing is, they go in there. These are mercenaries and whatever. If it's a real shooting, very often it is not. It's a stage like film set, but sometimes they're real victims, sometimes they're real shooting. What they do is they use skilled military people, mercenaries, contractors, and so on. They do it, and then the only thing they have to do is pull on a balaclava so that they join up with the SWAT team when the SWAT team arrives. SWAT teams come, maybe there's 12 people in the SWAT team, they move, and when they move out, there's 14 or 15. Nobody notices, they're gone.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with the vehicles also. They use vehicles that are very similar to the people of the authorities. So the authorities move in, and then they move out, and they bring the vehicles of the guilty ones as well, except for whatever vehicle they leave there pointing towards the patsy.
Yep.
I think
the truth.
I think, you know, like it's incredible. Like in San Bernardino, for one thing, they were even singing about San Bernardino, the Eagles of Death Metal, which is a band that was totally involved in the whole Paris thing. Next Stop, San Bernardino is one of the songs, the lyrics. Anyway, so, and the description there was 3 military looking guys with very advanced weaponry and so on. And the ones that we were being served was like a Muslim-looking couple, one of them a woman. How did that happen? And even the commentators on TV from different programs were talking about actors. Actors. They were saying the words, and the actor wasn't even dead yet, or the actors were doing this. It is in our face. They're rubbing our face in it. So really, we say we deserve respect. I say, wake up. My God, how much evidence is needed before we snap out of this trance? I don't know. But it's getting to a point where it's, I don't know how many hundreds of interviews I've done. I'm saying the same thing. I'm pointing out the same details in different operations. It's incredible how it can carry on. So
Yeah, people don't understand that the matrix is real, and you can come out of the matrix. All you have to do is choose to come out of the matrix, and that means you choose truth.
snap out of the trance, snap out of it. But it's painful. It is, because you have to give up so much of what you believe in. I have to unlearn things all the time. I thought I knew a lot about many areas that has just turned out to be absolute lies. And but this is, I believe, is what is called an open mind, and a mind that is just saying, I have no idea, let me check it out. I have no idea about that, let me check it out. This, not a clue, let me check it out. And just see where it takes you. Let the truth lead you. Because the truth is very simple, very clean, very simple. It always adds up. It can be very hard to find somewhere because it's so covered up with conspiracies and lies, but it's there underneath it. And there's a reason for the lies. The lies are pointing in the exact opposite direction of where the truth is pointing. So when they say it was over there, look in the exact opposite way. That is where the truth will often hide.
Exactly. And it is hidden right in front of your face.
We're
always looking behind the scenes trying to find something back there, but it's right out front.
And nowadays it's more and more obvious. Either they're getting so sloppy because they don't have time to prepare properly, or the budget isn't good, or they haven't got any good people to work with. I don't know. But it's becoming more and more obvious. So, and this is why also it's so fantastic nowadays with people around the globe, because they're so on top of these things. Within minutes, it is being defragmented right in front of our eyes. So in the old days, I felt so alone. I was spending so much time trying to figure things out, and now it is being sent to me from all over the world. My Facebook is like a hub for false flag operations. So it's fantastic. And also, I would say that one thing in this therapy that is almost always there is a drill. There is a drill that is taking place either right before the event or during, and then it goes live. And the drill is there so that the people behind these operations can get vehicles in position, explosives in position, casts, extras. The patsy lured him into position where they can kill him. Everybody to get the lighting sorted and close up streets and so on. But they need to put this on, like put advertisements about this drill so that they can avoid us interfering. So this is the perfect entry for us in on stage. As soon as there is a drill in your neighborhood or anywhere near where you are, be aware this could very well be a new false flag terror attack. So what you do is you take your camera, your mobile, whatever, or cell phone, and bring friends and family, everyone down, and get there the day before. Start filming them while they set the whole thing up. Make it very, very obvious that they're being observed, that they're being filmed. And then please be aware of also nowadays there are apps, I think one is called Bamboozle, which when you press that button, whatever you film will go live on YouTube straight away. Meaning that if you're approached by an officer or somebody that looks threatening to you, just say, please, Mr. Officer, before you consider bashing my head in, you are being filmed. This is going live on YouTube, so I would prefer if you take it a bit easy. That has a very cooling effect, I tell you. If they know that this is going out live, they chill. So
in a lot of states here in the U.S., they've outlawed filming cops.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? That's what cowards do.
Yep. It's exactly right.
Well,
it has been a wonderful morning with you, and it went very fast. And it's been hard to line it up again, but I want you back.
Anytime.
At some future date. Well, you say anytime, but it's hard to get you because of our time difference. It's been difficult. But we know we can do this in the future and film it live, and then we'll replay it again tonight. And if you want a copy of this, I'm sure that Mike can get that to you fairly quickly as soon as we get it uploaded and stuff. I can send it over to you on Skype.
Excellent.
Okay.
I tell you, anything, anytime, anywhere where I can make a difference for the better, you can count me in. It's just the reason why we haven't been able to synchronize this is just time differences and misunderstandings. And would it be okay for you if I end with a prayer?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. This is a prayer my yoga teacher has. It's yoga for the mind, the old Raja Yoga, the science of the mind, how to control and calm down your mind. And her name is Nelani Chelaram, and the prayer goes like this. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May everyone, and especially the ones who hurt us, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Victory to that light.
Amen.
The secret is we all need to heal. They need to heal as well, otherwise this madness will just continue. And also, if I can say, I'm a one-man band. I have a family to support and so on. So if anyone would like to help me in my efforts, we're all in the same boats. On my website, lightonconspiracies.com, lightonconspiracies.com. There are donation buttons, there's a newsletter to sign up for, there's a membership area, buy my books, Coup d'etat in Slow Motion, Shadow of Tears, Remind Me, or Yolanda Yoga Panda. All of these things is the only way that I continue. I'm going to continue anyway, but this is the way that can get me into these locations when and hopefully before these operations are carried out, because I always try to get there as soon as possible and to defuse these awful events before they even take place. And with those words, I am going to be quiet.
Okay. It was wonderful to have you on board, and God bless you in all that you're doing. And we will see you next time.
Next time.
Okay.
I say,
bye-bye.
Hasta la vista, baby, as they say.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Bye-bye, Mike.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
You too. Really great meeting you both.
Yes.
Take care.
You too.